You know that feeling of sorrow, a sadness so deep it's like a shadow you just can't shake? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today with one of the most haunting poems ever written, Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. We're going to break down how a simple visit from a bird spirals into this absolutely terrifying journey into the darkest parts of the human mind.
I mean, just listen to that opening line. Poe drops us right into it. Midnight, dreary, weak, and weary. This isn't just setting the scene, you know. It's way more than that. This is the narrator's entire state of being. It's the bleak, exhausted landscape where this whole nightmare is about to unfold.
All right, section 1. So before this raven even shows up, we really need to get a handle on the guy he's about to visit. Let's set the stage here and really dig into the kind of sorrow that makes him, well, so vulnerable to everything that's about to happen.
So, a few key facts for you. This was written by the absolute master of Gothic horror, Edgar Allan Poe, way back around 1845. And when it came out, it was an instant hit. I mean, it is the perfect example of Gothic literature. You've got this heartbroken scholar stewing in his grief, and suddenly his lonely night is shattered by let's just say, a very unsettling visitor.
Okay, and you've got to understand the poem's heartbeat, its rhythm. Poe uses this thing called trochaic octameter. It sounds complicated, but just think of it as this relentless driving beat. Duh, dum, duh, dum. It just pushes you forward. And when you combine that with all the rhyming he does inside the lines, it becomes almost hypnotic. Seriously, it feels less like you're reading a poem and more like you're caught in some kind of dark rhythmic spell. And this is so important to get. Our narrator is absolutely drowning in grief. He's not just sitting around reading. No, he's desperately digging through these old, forgotten books, trying to find anything to distract him from the memory of his lost love, Lenore. This crushing sadness, it's not just part of the story, it is the foundation for everything.
So you have this thick, heavy silence of pure despair, and that's when the first sound breaks through. This, right here, is where the story really kicks off.
Okay, so it starts out small, just this gentle tapping at his door. He opens it up and you can almost feel this tiny flicker of impossible hope, right? But there's nothing there, just darkness. He whispers her name, Lenore, and all he gets back is an echo. It's almost mocking him. And then the tapping starts again, but this time it's at the window.
So he flings open the shutter, and in flies this stately raven. And get this, it doesn't just land on the floor or a chair. No way. It lands right on a bust of Pallas. That's the Greek goddess of wisdom. The symbolism here is just wow. It's so powerful. You've got this dark omen, this creature of the night, literally sitting on top of the icon of reason and logic.
Now here's where it gets weird. The narrator isn't freaked out. Not at first. He's actually kind of intrigued, even a little amused by how serious this bird looks. And it's this curiosity that leads to, well, one of the most famous lines in all of literature.
You can see his logical mind still trying to make sense of this whole bizarre situation. He actually, playfully, asks the bird for its name. For just a second, it feels like this might just be a strange, welcome distraction from his constant pain. And then, the impossible happens. The bird answers him. It speaks. Just one single, chilling word that's going to become his personal torture. Nevermore. And that word just hangs there in the air, you know, full of this dark, heavy finality. Of course, the scholar in him kicks right in. He immediately starts trying to rationalize it. He figures, okay, the bird must have picked up that one word from a previous owner, some poor soul who was just constantly miserable. It's his brain desperately trying to put some kind of logical frame around this completely chaotic moment.
Yeah, but that fragile logic, it's about to be completely shattered. His curiosity starts to twist into this desperate, almost self-destructive need for answers. And he stops seeing the bird as just a lost pet and starts seeing it as some kind of prophet of doom.
And this is the real turning point. He starts asking the bird questions that, deep down, he already knows and dreads the answer to. He's basically projecting all of his deepest hopes and fears onto the bird's one-word vocabulary, and in doing so, he starts torturing himself.
So his first real question is this desperate cry for his own soul. He asks, is there balm in Gilead? Now, that's a reference from the Bible, a plea for healing. What he's really asking is, will this pain ever end? Will I ever find any kind of relief?
And the raven's answer, it's like a hammer blow to his spirit. No,
No relief for you. No comfort. Just endless, endless sorrow. At this point, nevermore isn't just a word anymore. It's a curse.
So, with all hope for peace on earth gone, he asked the big one, the final, most important question, the one that holds his very last shred of hope. He asks if he'll ever get to hold his beloved Lenore again, in heaven, in the afterlife.
And with that one final nevermore, it's all over. Every last bit of hope is just gone. The bird has told him no comfort on earth and no reunion in heaven. And what's left when hope is gone? Just pure, raw rage.
His spirit is just completely shattered. All he can do now is confront this bleak new reality. And that brings us to the poem's chilling, absolutely unforgettable ending. He just explodes. He starts screaming at the bird, telling it to get out, to leave him alone. But the raven, it doesn't move. Not an inch. It just sits there, this permanent shadow, with these eyes that look like a dreaming demon's. So creepy.
And this leads us to those devastating final lines. The actual physical shadow the lamplight makes the raven cast on the floor, well, that becomes a metaphor for the permanent shadow on the narrator's soul. He finally gets it. He finally accepts his fate. He is never, ever getting out of this grief. His soul is trapped forever. And so, what are we left with? The poem's greatest mystery, really. Was the raven some kind of supernatural messenger, a demon sent from hell to torment him? Or was it just a bird? Just a random bird that flew in, and the narrator's own madness, fueled by his grief, twisted its one-word vocabulary into his own personal hell. Poe, of course, never tells us. And that haunting, unanswered question is exactly what makes The Raven such an incredible, timeless masterpiece.